Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenges of being a man in modern society and whatever the hell that phrase even means. I'm Kane, and joining me, as always, are Ryan and Matthew. Gents, how are we both?
Good, mate. Good. Good to be back in the chair after having a week off. Pretty busy weekend this weekend. We are in the final phases of moving everything out of the old house into the rental house, and it is crazy. The amount of stuff we have, I tell you, I never want to do this again, boys. Never again.
It's been a good way of actually culling some stuff which you don't need. Have you managed to do that, or is it at the moment just get everything out?
No, it has. We started off like that, but it's getting to the 11th hour, so to speak. So we are just sort of moving everything we can, and then we sort of figure, look, we've got 12 to 16 weeks before we move back in, so that's a good opportunity just to cull again some more.
You Marie Kondoing your place. I like it. How are you, Ryan?
Yeah, doing well here. It's been a nice weekend. I had the first game of hockey today. So I've been out with a bit of a shoulder thing, so I went back today, and we're a few players down, so I hadn't played for a while. Plus, I'm starting to get on that closing in on 30, so I now understand returning to sport, how everyone bitches about their bodies pulling up. Much stiffer and sorer, so more to look forward to as I age. But yeah,
This is from a physio as well.
13-1. This is from a physio as well, so I should know it, but when you're young, you kind of just go, it's not as bad as everyone bitches about. No, it really is depressing. But other than that, weekend's been really good.
I think if it makes you feel worse when you get beaten 13-1 or something like that. Anything sort of over probably 3 or 4 as a winning margin makes you feel pretty bad, I'd guess.
Yeah, we got destroyed with three players less than a full team on the pitch with a filling goalie, and they had a bench. So we got to about 7 or 8, and a couple of their players were still taking it pretty seriously, and it was kind of like, come on, fellas, it's not a nail biter here.
Well, if you're ever short, you can give me a call. I'll probably decline, but it's on record that if you call, I'll at least consider coming along. I don't know what I would add, but I could probably stand in goal capably.
I'll remember that one.
All right, gents, this week we're going to talk about public holidays and shortened weeks, and I guess longer breaks as well, sort of school holidays. We've just come off the back of Easter rolling into almost Anzac Day, so a lot of people took 2 or 3 days off last week and managed to get sort of a 10-day break. So have a chat about how we approach this with regards to public holidays, what we do, how shortened weeks affect us, and I guess what we can do with longer breaks, and how Maddie copes with school holidays.
I took full advantage of that little extended break there in the last week or two. So I cottoned on to the fact that was happening quite early. So I think mid last year, and I floated the idea to my brother about going to China for a week to soak up, Easter rolling into Anzac Day, as you said. And then I floated the idea with Kim, obviously.
I was going to say, you went with a brother first.
Wanted to make sure I had someone to go with. Yeah, then I floated the idea with Kim, and she was all for it. And then as it rolled around closer, I think she sort of realised that she was going to be getting the kids for more days than usual by herself, because they obviously won't be at school. This is going to be a nightmare. So, and it turned out it was really a nightmare. And I don't think I'll be doing it again. But yeah, it was great to have the those extra public holidays in there as well, to cut down the annual leave. I think it was 3 days annual leave I only did take, and I end up getting 10 days break out of it, which was really good. So, and then up in Brisbane, we have a public holiday next Monday as well. So for Labor Day, our Labor Day is in May. And there was one year, I think it was 2017, where it was Easter Monday. The following week was Anzac Day. The following week was Labor Day. So there was 3 weeks, or 4 weeks there, counting the Good Friday short week. 4 weeks of short weeks. So I'll kick off with that.
Wow, so in a 10-day gap, which you floated with your brother mid last year, which is I think fantastic. Before speaking to your better half about it, you managed to get to China and back.
Yeah, Yeah, so I flew out Good Friday Eve, and then had all of Good Friday right through until the following Friday I flew back. So a good week there, and then obviously the weekend on the end of that as well. So yeah, went and saw the Great Wall and did a little hike along that, bit of Tiananmen Square, Terracotta Warriors, and ate my way through China with dumplings and stir-fried pork, and yeah, it was fantastic.
Very envious. That's how people should take advantage of, I guess, that particular period where you can get that extra time for it. What amounts to 2 or 3 days annual leave out of your 4-week allocation, assuming you're paid up employee. How are you, Ryan? How do you approach these things?
Certainly not as enjoyable as what it sounds like that Matt did. No, I'll go on the record and say I absolutely hate short weeks.
What's that?
Namely because being involved in a number of things, business and otherwise, and already having a very full-on week, I find that when it's a 4-day week, you've still got to fit 5 into 4. Now that's probably different for some of the listeners and the jobs that they do, but I know a lot of my friends who are in the business spaces or the knowledge kind of based industries, you're still expected to get what you'd get done in 5 days. And then those who work around you as well, because it's 4 days, everybody's trying to get everything off their plate, especially if it's a 4-day long weekend or what we've had where a lot of people were away. So no, I basically work-wise got absolutely smashed for the last few weeks. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of them. I wasn't as smart as Matt. If in hindsight, I probably would have taken the 3 days and just kind of gone, yep, it's going to be pretty bad when I get back to work tomorrow, but it's still going to be pretty bad. And yeah, I don't know whether it's just the type of work that I do, but short weeks basically just feel like you got to do the same amount of work in a lot less time with a lot less responsive people.
I think short weeks are really only good if you're going somewhere. I think if you're staying put, like you said, Ryan, 4 into 5, it's a killer. It's not really fun at all.
Yeah, that's right. We're much the same here. That the work I do is across different time zones as well. We have clients in Perth. We have clients in Brisbane when there was a time difference with daylight savings. Thankfully, we've realigned with the good folk up north now. A couple of clients in Adelaide, and then I have a team offshore in India. So we have like 4 or 5 different time zones, different public holidays in each. For instance, the 1st of May, May Day, is a public holiday in India. It's not a May Day public holiday there, but they have the 1st of May off. So for me, that's actually probably more of a day off than an Australian public holiday to some extent, because I won't have a lot of work coming back that particular day. So my public holiday is actually more aligned with the Indian public holiday system and their religious holidays rather than anything here in Australia. So yeah, I'm in an unusual boat like that. So last week I was still working a fair bit of the time, just keeping things ticking over. When I say a fair bit of the time, it's a couple of hours, maybe an hour or 2 a day just to keep things ticking over. So I still try to take some time away from work, but still have to, I guess, keep on top of a few things.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the annoying thing is with half days, I find that you've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out most of the time. Like we were lucky enough to head up to Port Douglas for a wedding over the Easter break, and they gave plenty of notice and said, we're going to be quite selfish and take the Easter holidays. So we did get away, which was nice, but sort of the run up to that and then going to work for that Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I did take the Friday off because my mum was in Melbourne for the week as well. So it was kind of juggling half in work plus a lot of people just trying to get things off their plate, and it feels like there was just a general bit of extra stress there, and maybe that's just in the space that I was in. Plus kind of going, hang on a minute, I'm on holidays here. Like I should be half in, half, I should be completely off. Below what you said there, Kane, just a couple of hours here and there that doesn't really check you out. So yeah, next time in hindsight, I probably would have just taken 3 days.
Yeah, and I guess the other part of that is if you are taking a holiday, be it like 3 or 4 days or taking 3 days of annual leave, or if you're taking a longer holiday, a lot of the time you kind of have to, you feel like you have to work your socks off beforehand to get everything kind of off your plate so it's a clean slate. Did you find that, Maddie, even just taking that extra 3 days and being away for 10 days, that before going away, you really had to maybe put in a few extra hours before you went away?
Yeah, I did, and that was both in work and home life as well. So work was, there's a lot of sort of changes happening in the office in terms of technology and software we were using, and getting responses and all that sorted out before I left. There was extra sort of pressure on that, and home life as well. Just the move that we did. So we moved the week before I went away. So those 4 or 5 nights leading up to when I flew out, they were 12, 1 a.m. finishes, just trying to get stuff put away, just so Kim didn't have an absolute hellhole of a house for the week that I was gone. So both sort of facets of life there were
let me get this straight. You've got away for 10 days. You've during the school holidays and moving house.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look back and it's gone, what a bad couple of decision making.
It was all signed off and
Things
agreed, though. It
happening.
was put forward. You submitted your annual leave application. She signed off on it. So,
It's funny because Mia had her first netball game yesterday and was speaking to one of the other dads there whose wife was in Vietnam, and she had the same idea, take advantage of the break. And he said exactly the same thing. When she put it to me, it sounded okay. But then I realized they weren't going to be in school, and I was going to have to look after them more than I normally do. And Kim's like, yeah, that's right.
So what's the difference between school holidays and non-school holidays then? Can you kind of, like, you've obviously been through school holidays and non-school holidays. What's the major difference?
So school holidays at the moment, so daycare is fine. Sam's at daycare, school holidays, not school holidays. Doesn't make a difference. Eloise is okay now as well because she has they have sort of school holiday care, and Mia does the same thing. So at the moment, school holidays are good because all the kids are sort of booked in places. It's public holidays that are the killer because those opportunities aren't there. So the kids are at home, and that is just the boredom is just magnified when there's 3 kids sitting at home and only 1 parent to sort of entertain them. So that has been the killer. But school holidays, not too bad at the moment. And I think next school holidays, and probably till I die, I won't be going anywhere. I'll be liaising with Kim beforehand about I'll take a couple of days off, you take a couple of days off, just so we're not neglecting the kids for 10 days straight.
Yeah, because there's 3 public holidays and a weekend in there, which is essentially a public holiday because there's no activities booked then. So yeah, that is a fair amount of time, especially to have 3 kids. I know even over the weekend, the weekend, Easter weekend, we kind of had like, okay, you take some time away from the little fella, I'll take some time away from the little fella, we'll do some stuff together. So it's even just kind of having some, I guess, independent sort of alone time and then together time and then family time as well across that period of time is what we try to prioritize. But yeah, when you're kind of flying solo and you're doing 7 or 7 every day, that's hard yakka.
It is, and I was getting some text messages here and there, Kim checking in, just letting me know how tired she was, and what to expect when I got back.
So where's she going next for holidays?
She doesn't like to leave the kids, so she'll be staying put. But I often suggest you've got to get away, just and I think she will when they're a little bit older, but yeah, at the moment. But I've come back and I've as soon as I landed, at midnight it was, came home, I heard Sam crying, so straight away I took the feed, and from there on in I've done every morning with the wake up and everything. So I'm getting a bit tired myself, so I let her have a nice sleep in today. So not to sound like a fantastic guy and everything, but I'm slowly getting myself back into the good books.
We're just taking the mickey, mate. Hey, it was all put forward, it was all signed off. Hey, you've come back and it's all back to normal as soon as you step foot back in the door. So yeah, you probably next week we'll ask you about China and be like, well, when did I go there? It'll all just be a blur.
It feels a bit like that. Yeah.
Slowly build the brownie points back up. I was going to ask you guys, with stuff like this, does it mess with like not having kids, but having somewhat stressful work and that the disruption of the routine of fitting 5 and 4 or just having those public holidays changes things, and I noticed with my team that it changes some people's behavior. Some get really stressed, some sort of lax off and those kind of things. But I wonder with kids, did the public holidays, short weeks, do they kind of throw out the kids' routine, or is it because it's been absorbed in school holidays it's okay? Like for example, the public holiday that you have upcoming in May, Matt, with the kids not used to you being there that day, does that throw anything out, or do you kind of go, we'll keep it as routine as possible?
I'm actually flying down to Melbourne on the weekend to absorb that public holiday.
Completely throwing you under the bus there.
But I am taking one of the kids with me this time, so I don't know how I got that through. But to answer your question though, Ryan, Eloise, our middle one, has found it a little bit tricky this school holidays because she goes to kinder 3 days a week, and the same kinder offers a school holiday care, but the teachers and the kids are completely different to what she's used to. So her routine during the day goes completely out the window. So for the first couple of days, it was very hard for her to get out the door without the whole, oh, I don't want to go. And eventually she sort of fell into, enjoying it. But yeah, those kind of routines are they're always broken up over the school holidays and public holidays. There's really no way, I don't think, around it for us. It's just, it is what it is, and you try your best just to reassure them that how much fun they're going to be having, and every day was a different theme. So we really work on that, saying, oh, it's MasterChef Day, you love cooking, it's going to be so much fun. But yeah, it's unfortunately it's just something that happens every time school holidays roll around.
I was going to say, with our little fella, he actually has no idea of what's going on what a particular day anyway. He'll wake up after his afternoon nap and go, what am I doing today? I'm like, well, it's the afternoon, mate. You might do something now, but it's still the same day. He thinks he's going swimming every day. So he has no real concept of what happens on what days. Having said that, he is starting his first day of, kinder this week. So that'll be a big one. It's the first day that he'll be going somewhere without us or grandparents or somebody he knows around with him. So we've been just trying to prompt him that it'll be okay. So we're getting into that routine now. So I think in a couple of semesters' time, we'll be in that boat once we get to school holidays where he goes, I not go to kinder today. I'm like, no, mate, you just have to stay home and, we have to try to entertain you somehow. Let's do some more cool craft that you want to do, or kick a ball outside or something.
They've got TK at the moment watching Lego Masters on TV, which is now a full show, and Hamish Blake's hosting it, and that just looks like amazing fun. So that's one of the pluses that I'm seeing, that when I have a kid, I can go back and play with a heap of Lego.
I'd like that TK's gone from maths to Lego Masters. So I'm not sure of the psychology of Lego Masters.
Oh, no, there's Bachelor in Paradise in between, like switching between the ads and that sort of thing. So
she's getting a psychology fix on a Sunday night still. That's okay.
Yep, watching the craziness of the Bachelor in Paradise until there's then probably an actual Bachelor, and then there'll be another maths, and it's a good rotation.
But you touched on something before, like Lego and things like that. It's actually then, but when the kids aren't at school or whatever they've got on during the normal school term, is actually making sure there's some kind of activity they can do during the week. Because otherwise, after a couple of hours at home, little fella's only 3. He goes crazy.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering what you guys do with the routines and stuff there, because I know that kids, sort of cling to routine, or parents try and keep as much routine as possible. So yeah, if they're sort of stuck at home, do they go a bit crazy? Or if you're there when they're not expecting you to be there, are they kind of like, oh, this is weird, I'm gonna really capitalize on this?
When I was off with Sammy in the second half of last year, so I was home when the school holidays were on. So when I had the kids towards the end, and I should have done this a lot earlier, but I'd write like an itinerary of the day. So starting from 7 till 8, and then I'd do hourly activities of what we'd be doing, and then I'd get the girls to cross them off as we went into the activity. So they'd just be simple things like, have breakfast, I'd slot morning tea in here, then lunch, then I'd fill in the gaps with a colouring competition, or we'd go for a walk, or we'd have some, free time, which the kids could watch the iPad for, half an hour or something like that. And whilst I was doing that, the days were just flying. So there's a tip for anybody who, is stuck at home over the school holidays with kids. Do some itineraries. Get the Excel spreadsheet happening, guys.
I like that, Matthew. That is genius, though, actually. That's between that. I'm not sure if that's a better idea or not quite as on par of the idea of cutting the edge of the tissue box so the tissue comes out in one piece. It's up there, though. It's a really good idea.
That is an itinerary of. Do you have any examples of them, Matt?
As in the activities we did, or
Yeah, just like how it looks and that kind of thing. Because that's actually that's a really good idea. Because especially getting them to cross it off and they sort of get to have ownership and run with it and play around with it. I'm definitely
Yeah,
going to
and
put that in the bank for 10 years from now. That'll be a good one.
and the next morning I'd ask them, "Oh, was there anything you did yesterday that you really enjoyed that maybe we can slot it in today as well?" So they could have some voice to the operation as well, which is nice for them.
And taking feedback as well is that's fantastic. That's really good. Oh, that's a great idea.
I think when you give kids an opportunity to voice their sort of, their ideas, it's they're a lot more involved and they're on board a lot more than what they normally probably would be.
Matt, I know you've ebbed and flowed this episode. You've gone from being like, I buggered off to China for the whole school holidays to putting like Father of the Year sort of stuff, putting together an itinerary for the kids on a day off. That's great.
Villain to hero in 30 minutes. One of the activities we did do actually was I downloaded this. I think I sent the movie to you boys, but it was just like a 10-second short little film we did, and the kids absolutely loved it. They got dressed up. It was just something really silly, like they dressed up as witches or something like that. But I was just sitting on the iPhone, so every now and then the girls, "Oh, can we watch that little video?" And it's it's something memorable to do.
I got to say that little video
that
was
cool.
unbelievable, and my little fella still quotes it. Like he'll still go at the end, and whenever he give him a cheese stick, because he likes those cheese stick things, and each time he gets it, he'll zap. He'll go zap, which was straight from the movie. So that movie really struck a chord with him. He would definitely hire on DVD or probably stream it on Netflix.
He was the biggest fan. I love that. I'll send him a signed copy.
But there's lots of, I guess there's lots of things going back to just even public holidays and breaks through the year where you should probably take some time away from work and maybe not try to squeeze 5 days worth of work into 4 as well, because it is really important to kind of have some balance in your life and not work all the time. And if you can squeeze in a trip to China or another trip to Melbourne, then it's worthwhile doing.
Provided you get permission beforehand.
Anyway, that about wraps it up for this week. Do subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review. Also, provide some feedback to Matthew on his trip to China or his trip to Melbourne or his itinerary. Also, tell all your mates about the podcast, especially if they are guys. Most of all, thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week for another episode, or should I say serving, of Daddy Eats Last. How's that for a dad joke? Catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.